Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video. Today I thought I would show you all of the books that are on my summer TBR. I did do a video a few weeks ago showing you everything that is on my physical TBR, but I thought I would show you the books that are kind of on my radar, that I am bumping up the priority list to read in the summer. Fair warning, I think 90% of these are romance books. Summer just gives me cutesy rom-com vibes, and that is what I'm going to read. Like the beach reads, the easy to flick through rom-coms, I just eat all of that up. Like I love that so much anyways, but especially in the summer, I feel like you just need things that are easy to read. Like if you're by the beach, if you're going on holiday, you need something you can easily flick through. So thought I'd show you a few of the ones that are on my radar. Let's get into it. Starting up with some Sarah Adams books, I have 3 books of hers that are on my TBR. I don't know if this is all of the books that she has out, or actually no, there's the cheat sheet, but what else does she have? I think maybe the cheat sheet is the only other book that she has out that I don't have. But basically I have 3 Sarah Adams books that I have not yet read, but they are honestly just so cute. Like they give the ultimate summer vibes, even just from the covers, but the colours as well, I guess. But I've heard such good things about them that they are really easy to read, typical rom-com, kind of like fluffy, not too much depth to them, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like what you see is what you get. I have heard a lot of people say that these are great for getting you out of book slumps. They're great for reading in like 1 or 2 sit-ins. So I would love to get to these. So I have the Rule book, which is her newest release. This one is Second Chance, I think. So it's basically the ex-boyfriend, she ends up becoming his sports agent. So it's a sports romance too. Okay, wait, it's like not a fake marriage, but it says they have a wild night in Vegas and they end up married. I don't know, it feels like it's just going to be cute and easy to read. So I'm really excited to get to this one. I actually think I'm going to take this one with me on my trip that I'm going on soon. I don't know if I need to read these in any particular order. From what I've gathered, I think these 2 are connected, but not really. Like I think they have little cameos from the characters in these 2 books. I don't actually know which one came out first, but I have When in Rome, which is a small town romance, I believe. So she is a famous singer, but she leaves to go to this little town and meets the guy who has a pie shop. And I think she ends up living with him. I don't know, it's just giving very much cozy, cutesy town Gilmore Girls kind of vibes, but make it summer. Don't know if it even takes place in summer. They're just the vibes that I'm getting. He's grumpy and she is falling in love with a small town. Like, sign me up. Okay, and then we have Practice Makes Perfect. So this is what I mean when I say that they're kind of interlinking. So the girl main character, Annie Walker, is a florist, and then the guy is the girl, like the pop star from this book's security guard. So he is in the town to kind of like escort, bodyguard, whatever her. So that's how they end up meeting. But again, it's just giving Gilmore Girls. Like it is giving cute small town, similar vibes to the Knock 'Em Out series. Like I love that kind of genre niche, I guess, for a summer romance. So I am really excited to get to these. They literally scream summer. Like I'm so sorry. Absolutely stunning. Then another little mini author spotlight, seems we may as well just get those out of the way, is Ali Hazelwood. I really need to read an Ali Hazelwood book this summer. I have 4 on my TBR currently. I have Checkmate Bride, The Love Hypothesis and Love Theoretically, which means that I only need Love on the Brain, and I think that's all of her books that she has out. Or does she have another one coming out soon? I have no idea, but these are the 4 that I have currently. So The Love Hypothesis and Love Theoretically, these 2 again are kind of interlinking, I believe. I think they have a few of the same characters in. They exist like in the same world, and these basically focus on women in STEM and their love interests. I think The Love Hypothesis is the first book in this little mini sort of world series, whatever. So it follows Olive, who's a PhD candidate, and I think it's her professor. So we've got like a student-teacher dynamic. I don't know, if you're doing your PhD, technically considered a student and he's your teacher. Fake dating, and yeah, I'm guessing we have a lot of like the science, STEM kind of references, which is gonna completely go over my head because I am a humanities girl over a STEM girly, but it's fine. So we have this one, then I think it's Love on the Brain, that's the second one, and then Love Theoretically. I think this is the most recent out of this little world. So in this one we have Elsie, who is a professor, and she offers her services as a fake girlfriend. And then it's Jack, who is the older brother of her favourite client, who hires her to be his fake girlfriend, I think. So we've got a theme of fake dating here, but I don't know. I've heard that they are just easy to read, cutesy kind of romances. I don't know if they're very spicy or if they're closed door or if I'm making that up, but I've just heard really good things and I feel like I need to read at least one of her books because I've not read a single one, and I feel like the only person on Book Talk on Bookstagram that has never read an Ali Hazelwood book. It should be a crime. Then I have Check and Mate, which is her first YA novel, and this centres around chess. Female main character is basically like a chess champion, but she has like some issues going on at home that means that she needs to quit sort of playing chess and quit the championships. But then she enters one last tournament and absolutely slays the game and beats this guy Nolan, and I think from that they kind of strike up like a rivals to lovers kind of thing. I have no idea. I do know that this is YA, but I've seen a lot of people say that they don't think it should be YA, but I have no idea. I can't comment, and I don't know how this will compare to her other books because I've not read any of them. So we need to get to this one. I honestly really wanted to start this one like as soon as I bought it, and I just haven't. And then the last one that I have, which is very, very different from the other three that I have of her books, is Bride. So this is a, I don't know if it's like a romantasy, a paranormal romance. I have no idea what you would categorize it as, but basically it is, well, a romance book, but between a werewolf and a vampire. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this because I've never read a paranormal romance, I believe, apart from like Twilight. So don't know how I'm going to feel about reading about vampires and werewolves getting it on, but we'll see. I feel like this is either going to be like a love or a hate type book. I have seen mixed opinions on it and the use of the word not. So I'll let you know how I feel about this one because I do actually really, really want to read this one. I feel like, knowing me, this will probably end up being my favourite of her books. So excited to read it. Then just to switch it up a little bit before we get into more romance books, I have 2 thrillers on my TBR. I do really love a thriller. Like, I don't read them as often as I read a romance book or a fantasy book, but when I do read them, I do really enjoy them. I love like a fast-paced, quick to read thriller. Like, if they keep you on the edge of your seat and you're gripped and you literally just fly through the book, there is no better feeling. So I have 2. The first one that I have is The Housemaid's Secret by Freida McFadden. This is the second book, I believe, after The Housemaid, which I read last year, I want to say, and I did really enjoy it. I really like Freida McFadden's books because of how fast-paced and easy to read they are. They aren't like my favourite, most complex thrillers of all time, but I think they're good for what they are, if that makes sense. Like, they're easy to read, they're gripping, and I feel like you read them fairly quickly. So this follows on from the first book, where I actually don't even know what the maid is called. I can't remember. But basically she has been employed by somebody, but she is a little bit sketch, and it says that she's just started working for this new family. She hears her crying, she notices spots of blood, and one day she can't help but knock on the door, and when it gently swings open, what I see inside changes everything. So she essentially is going to make the husband pay. That's what I'm gathering from this. So I'm excited to read this one. Again, I think this might be one that I take on my trip with me, just because I feel like I will fly through it. It's just so easy to read and so easy to get into. Pretty low stakes, which I don't mind for like a summer thriller. Then the next one that I have is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. Again, I have heard such good things about this. I've never read a Riley Sager book before, but from what I can gather, they are pretty fast-paced. Maybe a little bit more intense than the Freida McFadden books and a little bit more fleshed out from what I can gather. But this one basically is like a forced proximity kind of, it takes place in one setting from what I can gather. There is essentially a serial killer that is killing people on campus, and basically our two main characters are on a car ride. They're taking place in a university rideshare scheme, and basically the female main character thinks that the guy who is driving her is this serial killer. So they're stuck in this car on a road trip, and she thinks that she's going to become his next victim. Like, that sounds right up my street. That sounds like everything I want in a thriller. Like, it's going to be suspenseful, you're going to be working things out as you go along, and yeah, I'm really excited to get to this one. I actually think I'm going to start this soon, which I do say all of the time, but I would really like to read this one maybe like in the next month or so. Then hopping back over to romance, I have The Roughest Draft. This has been on my TBR for so long. I don't know why I've never got to this. I think I've said before that I feel like for some reason this and Book Lovers by Emily Henry got compared a lot at the time when they both came out, and I had just read Book Lovers, so I was like, I don't know if I want to read a book that's supposed to be similar. But honestly, this cover just screams summer. Like, I need to read this purely for the cover. It's a second chance romance. Basically, there were two authors, two writers. They've separated, but they need to come back together because they have one final deadline. I love a second chance romance, especially if it takes place in the summer. There's just something about it, like the pining, the angst, the want to get back together but they don't know how to articulate it. There's kind of like this pent up energy between them. I eat it up every single time. And if it takes place at like a beach house or something like that, I'll eat it up even further. Like, it is my favourite. So I'm really excited to read this. I have recently entered my romance era again. I feel like I've kind of been dabbling in thrillers and fantasies, but now that we're getting back to the summer, I just want to go back to my tried and tested trusty rom-coms. Like, there's nothing better, truly nothing better. Speaking of second chance romances, we have Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. I'm pretty sure this is second chance romance anyway. It says that 10 years ago, Will Baxter rescued Fern. Can she do the same for him? So I think they dated or had a connection or something previously. Something happened, they have separated, they've lost touch or whatever, and then he arrives up and tries to help her through something. I don't know. I read Every Summer After by the same author and I did really like it, but it kind of had a cheating trope in there, which I'm not a fan of, and I don't know if this one is going to have the same in. I hope not, but I did really like the way that she wrote and I enjoyed the setting and everything like that. And she also has another book out called, I don't know what it's called. It's something summer, I think. One summer. I have no idea. But if I enjoy this one, then I will pick up that one as well. Just because at the minute, I don't know if Every Summer After is kind of like a one-off. And that I liked it, but I didn't love it, if you know what I mean. So we will give this one a go. Again, the cover just screams summer. Like, you can not read a book like this in the summer. So I'm excited to get to this one too. Like, this is going to be the perfect beach read. Love it. Then I have The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. Again, I've heard such good things about this. Emily Henry says it is her perfect 10 of a book. So sign me up. It's a bodyguard romance, forced proximity, but the girl is the bodyguard. I think it's fake dating too because he doesn't want people to know that she's his bodyguard, so they pretend that it's the girlfriend. I don't know. I feel like things with like those kind of tropes really just for me are low stakes, but in the best kind of way. And I'm excited to read it and see what it's like. I've never heard of this author other than this book, so I've never read any of her books either. So it's nice to be able to potentially find a new author as well. Then I have The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. So this one follows on from the Off Campus series, which I have not read, but that is on Kindle Unlimited. That is like a sports hockey, I believe, romance. And this essentially follows one of the main guys from there, his daughter. So it's a college romance, a hockey romance, taking place on campus, and I don't know, I feel like this will be interesting to read. Like I said, I haven't read the series, so I don't know what really happens in it, if I will like this. but I've heard good things about it, so I'm guessing that I will, and it is quite chunky, but I'm excited to get to it. I have The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. So Christina Lauren wrote Love and Other Words, which is one of my favourite romances. I loved that so much when I read that, but there are other books that I've read I haven't loved as much. But this one sounds promising. Basically, it takes place where they are filming a TV show. It's one girl and however many guys, and it's her trying to find like her true love, I think. But the director of the program essentially falls in love with her, and it's trying to see if like he is her perfect match, if they can make it work, I think, when she's in the midst of like dating all these other guys. I don't know, I'm hoping it'll just be like a cutesy little romance. Then I have The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. So this one I thought was a cowboy romance. Unfortunately, it's not in fact a cowboy romance. It takes place in Alaska. She's a big city girl. She moves back to Alaska where her family are from and meets this pilot. He's like grumpy, loves the small town, doesn't want to leave, like all things like that. And they strike up a romance, but it's like, will it last? Will they work? When she's a big city girl, he's a small town boy. I eat things like that up every single time, so I'm really hoping that I will love this one. I have seen really good things about this. I think it has like a bit of a deeper backstory or deeper themes, but I'm unsure. Then I have The Brutal Prince, which is a mafia romance. I've never really read a mafia romance outside of like on Wattpad. So this is by Sophie Lark, and it's the first book in the Brutal Birthright series. So I think it follows two rival sort of like mafia families, and I don't know if each book follows like a different sibling or a different kind of like branch off from the family, but this one follows Ada and Callum. They essentially have an arranged marriage to smooth out a rivalry between these two mafia families. I feel like an arranged marriage works so well in a mafia romance. Like, I don't really like it in any other setting because I just don't know when it's necessary, but in a mafia romance, I'm gonna eat it up. Like, I am going to love it. I'm saying this as somebody that is, like I said, never read a mafia romance outside of One Direction fanfics, but sure, I love it. Then the last one that I have on here, guys, is actually the most recent edition, hence why it has this ugly little thing on there. But I picked up Root Bound, I think it's called. I literally can't even see because that's on there. I'm guessing that it is called Root Bound. So this is a cowboy romance, but the front of it sounds so sinister for no reason. It literally just says, "You really can't go home." Like, why not? But this says that she is a photographer. She agrees to do an assignment on someone's family home, or not, her family home, and when she goes back, she meets a cowboy who's basically dedicated his life to the ranch. She has like an estranged relationship with her family, it says here, so I'm guessing she goes back, he works on the family ranch. I think there's going to be a little bit of tension there, but I love me a cowboy, especially if he's grumpy, especially if there's tension, especially if he doesn't want somebody coming onto like the land, if she's like an out-of-towner. I love it so much. There are a lot of other cowboy romances on my TBR that I either don't have or that are on my Kindle, but for now this is the only one that I have a physical copy of. So guys, that is everything that I am prioritising as my summer TBR. I am a mood reader, so I have absolutely no doubt that I will end up reading so many different books to these. I do also have my Kindle, which has different books on there that I want to read as well, but this is kind of the list that I want to get off my physical TBR this summer. Hopefully we will have some really good books in there. Let me know if you have read any of them and which ones you would recommend me starting with. I think I'm going to go for a few of the more rom-com, fluffy little romances and just work from there. But I honestly can't wait for summer reading. Like, I love it so much, getting up and making an iced coffee and being able to go and sit in the garden and read. Of course, having like poolside and beach reads. Love that so much. Reading in the summer is just perfect. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. As always, make sure you're following my book Insta to stay more up to date on what I'm reading, reviews, everything like that. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.